On my birthday, my daughter-in-law locked me in the basement while she went out to have fun. She didn't realize I still had my phone. An hour later, something happened that made her face go pale and... On my 67th birthday, my daughter-in-law locked me in the basement to erase me from my own home. She thought she was silencing a nuisance. Instead, she handed me the proof that blew her little empire to pieces. I'm Beville Holloway, 67. Widow. Once upon a time, I pictured my later years with a soft blanket, a cat dozing, and grandkids lacing up skates in the living room. Quiet. Warm. Gentle. Then real life laughed. Everything changed 3 years ago when my husband, Winthrop, died of a heart attack. 42 years married. A railroad dispatcher to his bones. A man of clocks and timetables and neat tools in a garage where every wrench had its shadow on the pegboard. Trains don't forgive tardiness, Burvey, he'd tease, tapping his watch. He kept the pulse, I kept the home. After he passed, our house on Cherry Street turned from a cozy nest into a museum. His worn chair in the living room. His vinyl records in the study. The garage smelled like his shirts, metal and soap and fresh air. I wandered that place like a ghost. The silence roared. My son, Jonathan, did Sunday drop-ins. Short. Stiff. Like a teenager bracing for a lecture that never came. I was terrified of the empty. So when he suggested we sell my house and I move in with his family, I said yes almost before he finished the sentence. You don't want to live alone, Mom, he said. He put his hand over mine. Warm. Solid. Besides, Jocelyn will love having you around. Jocelyn, my granddaughter. She was 12 then. We'd been close. Cookies in the oven. Stories about meeting her grandfather at an amusement park dance one freezing January. She'd braid bright thread bracelets with her knees pressed to the couch and her head on my knee. Tell me again how he asked you on the carousel. I'd tell it every night if she asked. Back then, I only knew Lucy, my daughter-in-law, on holidays and Sundays. Pretty. Polished. Smiling in a way that felt like a photograph. Beville, you look amazing. This pie is divine. We are so happy to see you. The words were right, but they never warmed the room. I sold my house. Real estate in Pomona was hot. We got a good price. Most of that money went straight into a bigger place for them, a 2-story on Magnolia Drive with a basement and a backyard where Jonathan planned a barbecue pit. And a room on the first floor for you, Mom. Easier. It sounded good. It felt like family. It felt like safety. The first few months were fine. I helped in the kitchen. Picked up Jocelyn from school when Lucy ran late at her nail salon. Jonathan worked inventory at a window company, dull, he said, but steady. We were a household. I breathed again. At about 6 months, the edges started to fray. Little things. Lucy forgot to call me to the table when guests came. Casual darts disguised as advice. That sweater ages you, Berv. That color washes you out. I laughed them off. Then my cookbooks disappeared, boxed and exiled to the garage because the kitchen looks cluttered. My porcelain figurines, small ballerinas, and birds I'd collected over decades vanished from the mantel and reappeared on a top shelf in my closet. Doesn't fit the new living room design, Lucy told me, already turning away. By the end of the first year, I was a shadow. Jonathan was at work or buried in his phone. Jocelyn was behind a closed door. And Lucy? Lucy became the foreman. Beville, your cup is in the sink again. Do not touch the thermostat. The bill is outrageous. We talked about laundry days. Tuesdays and Thursdays are mine. I tried to talk to my son. He shrugged. Mom, you're making it bigger than it is. Lucy likes order. You're adjusting. That's all. The new rules multiplied like weeds. No TV after 9. The noise disrupts Jocelyn's study rhythm. No friends over. The house isn't a senior social club. No heavy cooking. Fried smells stick in the curtains. My world shrank to the size of my room. The worst? Lucy pried at the bond between me and Jocelyn like a crow at a latch. Your grandmother is old-fashioned. She has strange habits. You don't want to end up as nerdy as that, do you? I'd hear the whispers past Jocelyn's slightly open door, then watch my granddaughter's gaze slide away from mine at breakfast. That hurt worse than anything. I turned 67 this year. I didn't expect balloons. Maybe a simple dinner. A card in shaky marker from Jocelyn, like old times. That morning, Jonathan muttered something in the kitchen and left for work. Jocelyn ran out without breakfast. Lucy stood at the mirror putting on another layer of lipstick. "Beville," she said, not bothering to look at me. "We're having guests tonight. Small dinner." I nodded. She couldn't see it. "It'd be nice if you made your apple pie. Everyone raves about it." It sounded like a compliment. It felt like a hand offered across a small river. Maybe they remembered after all. Maybe this was their way of making it special. "Of course, Lucy," I said. "I'll bake a pie." I baked the pie. I cooked more stew, little bites I knew both my son and granddaughter liked. By 5, the house smelled like cinnamon and home. I wore a blue dress Winthrop once said made me look like a sapphire. For the first time in months, I felt needed. Lucy breezed in around 6, arms heavy with grocery bags. She scanned the table. "Oh, you cooked." Her mouth did a tight little smile. "Well, I got delicatessen trays. Their canapes are a hit." My stomach dropped. "That's all right," I said. More food never hurt anyone. She looked me up and down. "Are you wearing that? What's wrong with it?" "It's very formal for a homey dinner, don't you think?" "Then, before people arrive, can you pop down to the basement and check the heater? Mabel's always cold. And we want to show them the wine cellar Jonathan set up." Jonathan's wine cellar was a dozen cheap bottles behind a glass door, but he loved to hold court about tannins. I didn't argue. I headed for the basement. The stairs were steep. The light was dim. The concrete smelled like damp cardboard. I found the space heater, flipped it on, watched the coil glow orange. The door creaked. Lucy's footsteps. "Beville, find it?" "Yes." "It works," I said, climbing a few steps. The door slammed. The lock clicked. "Lucy," I called, my hand on the door. "The door, I know, Beville," she said. Calm. Cool. That's intentional. For a beat, the world went soundless. "Open the door." "No, dear." Her voice was the one you use with a toddler about to lick a socket. "We have important guests tonight." You'd ruin it. Interrupting. Droning on about the good old days. It's exhausting. I put my forehead against the wood. "It's my birthday." Silence. Then a soft laugh. "So that's why you're dressed up." A shrug in her voice. "This party isn't for you." I swallowed the tears back down to where rage was boiling. "When will you let me out?" "When the guests leave." A beat. "There's a heater. You won't freeze." "Don't yell. Music's loud." "And I told everyone you went to a friend's for the weekend." "No one's looking for you." Her footsteps went away. I stared at the bulb humming, at the orange glow of the heater, at the stacked boxes that smelled like old glue. My hands shook. Then my dress pocket buzzed. My phone. The beat-up smartphone Jonathan had handed me when he upgraded. "You don't need much, Mom. Just for emergencies." He laughed then. I wasn't laughing now. I took a breath and felt something click. Control. A sliver of it. Enough to think. A month earlier, I'd installed cameras. Small ones. Barely noticeable. I didn't do it because I'm paranoid. I did it because my life started misplacing itself. My pearl earrings, Winthrop's 30th anniversary gift, gone. I knew where they were. "You probably put them somewhere odd," Lucy said. "At your age." Then my mother's brooch disappeared. Then an expensive perfume bottle. Then a little porcelain ballerina from my bedside table. Each time, the same script. You must have moved it. Or, you threw it out by accident. My final straw was my diary. I'd written in it since I was 17. Pressed flowers. Ticket stubs. Fears and joys. It vanished. I ripped my room apart. Nothing. Jonathan grunted. Mom, it's a notebook. I wanted to scream. My friend Elizabeth from the gardening club has a son who owns an electronics store. She bought the cameras for me, helped me set up the app, taught me to make them motion activated. One pointed at my dresser, one at the living room mantel, one in the kitchen. I never told anyone. Quiet lines in the walls. And now, thank God, I had them. I opened the app. 3 tiny windows bloomed. The living room was full. 15 people maybe. Lucy's salon friends with big hair and big bracelets. A few of Jonathan's coworkers. My apple pie sat untouched on a side table. Lucy's delicate canapes took center stage. I listened in. Where's your mother-in-law? A redhead asked, the kind of red that comes from a bottle. Lucy rolled her eyes like she'd rehearsed. At a friend's. Thank God. One evening without her, my dear Winthrop stories. My cheeks burned. I switched to the kitchen camera. Jonathan was opening a bottle of supermarket wine, trying to look like he knew what he was doing. Mabel from next door sidled up, gift bag in hand. Jonathan, where's Beville? I brought her lavender tea. She told me once it's her favorite. He froze, then smiled weirdly. She's in Riverside, visiting a friend. He grinned like it was cute. Mom's very social lately. Mabel frowned. On her birthday? Jonathan blinked. Right. We, celebrated last weekend. Quiet dinner. Just us. Lies. Last weekend, he and Lucy were at the coast. Jocelyn was at a friend's. I ate crackers and watched reruns. Mabel still looked skeptical, but laid the gift bag on a side table. Give her this. Tell her I'm thinking of her. A stranger remembered my tea and my birthday. My family didn't. The front door opened. A tall man walked in. Dark hair combed back. Suit a little too slick for a backyard crowd. My stomach dropped. I knew him. Drake Campbellworth. My financial advisor. Jonathan's recommendation. He came by quarterly with graphs that meant nothing to me and a smile that did. Your investments are in good shape, Mrs. Holloway. I nodded. Trusted. I was grieving then. I didn't have room in my head for the fine print. Lucy greeted him like a teenager with a crush. A kiss on the cheek. Fingers through his arm. And the way they looked at each other when they thought no one was watching? Not the way married women look at family friends. They drifted into the kitchen. I cranked the sound up. You're late, Lucy chided, but her voice was playful. As if lateness had an inside joke. Meeting ran long. Drake glanced over his shoulder. Where is she? Don't worry. Lucy's smile, even through a grainy camera feed, made me cold. The old woman's in the basement. Thinks it's about the party. She snickered. She has no idea Jonathan signed off on Pine Hills for next month. Pine Hills. The name rang a bell. A nursing home outside Pomona. Not the worst. Not the best. Is everything ready? Drake asked. Power of attorney? Jonathan will get it next week, Lucy said. Lawyer drew it up. We'll tell her it's an insurance update. She signs anything he hands her. My jaw clenched. I had been trusting. Too trusting. And if she refuses? Drake asked. Lucy shrugged. Plan B. You've seen how scatterbrained she is. Leaving the stove on. Locking herself in the bathroom. A few more incidents, and any judge will call her incompetent. I gripped the chair. I don't leave stoves on. I don't lock myself in bathrooms. Were they staging it? Is Jonathan all in? Drake asked. He's soft, Lucy said, bored. He waffles. But he wants the whole house. And he wants the money. There's still what, $150,000 plus her pension and his father's insurance. Drake nodded. Not a fortune. Enough for Pine Hills a few years. Plenty left for upgrades. Maybe a new car. My blood boiled. My money for Lucy's car. And me? A visitor in my own life, tucked away out of sight. Jazin walked into the kitchen. Head down. Looking for a soda. Lucy's and Drake's hands slid apart like magnets flipped. Drake's smile turned syrupy. Isn't that what parties are for? He said, handing her a Coke. The way he looked at her made my skin crawl. Predatory. She flinched and scurried out. I flipped back to the living room. Jonathan was trying to sound grown-up to a coworker in a plaid shirt. Your mom's still with you? The man asked. For now, Jonathan sighed. But we're looking at a home. Professional care. Socialization. She okay with that? Not really. He grimaced. But she doesn't have much choice. Most of her money is in this house. And it's not in her name. Legally, it's ours. Lucy found a decent place. Garden. Activities. Nurses. It's time. It's our turn to decide what's best for her. Those words sliced. Back in the kitchen, Lucy bragged to a salon friend. Once she's out, I'll finally get my spa. That horrible room next to the kitchen? Jacuzzi. Sauna. Massage table. The friend twirled a strand of hair. Will she be okay with a nursing home? Who cares? Lucy snorted. At her age, the young make the rules. And she's slipping. Washed Jazin's silk blouse. $600 ruined. Last week Jonathan found her bumbling around the kitchen at 3 a.m., probably trying to burn the house down. Bold-faced lies. I'd gotten a glass of water. Nobody found me. I would have heard the creaky stairs. Drake came in. The friend disappeared fast. Your husband is getting spooked, he said, low. He wants a nicer place. He'll fold, Lucy said. He always does. He agrees, then he panics, then he does what I want. She lowered her voice. But we need to hurry. Especially with the transfers. Transfers. A word that hung in the air like a bad odor. She won't notice, Lucy said. She barely knows how to use a phone, let alone a banking app. That stung. Also, thank God it wasn't true. What about the power of attorney? Drake asked. Signed. Next week, Lucy said. Jonathan will sneak it in with insurance forms. She always signs. Not anymore, I thought. And if not, then we build a case that she's unsafe, Lucy said, eyes cool. She wanders. She forgets. She endangers herself. And the money? Drake asked. Still under my control. Yours? Lucy asked. Ours, Drake corrected, smile too sharp. Ours. I opened my banking app. Jonathan set up the online access months ago. I'd never really used it. My password came back to me like muscle memory, Winthrop's birthday, and the last 3 digits of our landline. The balance made my breath catch. $2,384. Where was the $150,000 they'd just mentioned? I scrolled. Monthly transfers to Campbellworth Investment Fund, $3,000 to $5,000. Regular. I hadn't authorized any of it. I opened my email. A mess. Spam. Ads. And monthly statements from Campbellworth. At the end of each report, copies of my signed authorization forms. Only, those weren't my signatures. Stiff angles. Clumsy loops. I'd taught second graders calligraphy for years. My hand is round, sure, consistent. Whoever forged mine hadn't practiced much. Further down, emails forwarded between Drake and my son using my email address. Per our conversation, I have transferred another $4,000 from your mother's retirement to the fund. As usual, 10% will remain in your personal account as a management fee. Jonathan was getting paid $400 a month to help bleed me dry. I had to put the phone down. Breathe. Not throw up. When the room stopped spinning, I kept looking and found something that ripped open a completely different wound. In the spam folder, dozens of emails from Talitha@coast.com. My daughter, Talitha. We hadn't spoken in almost 7 years. We'd had an ugly fight about her husband, Rufus, a musician Jonathan said was a leech. He's using her, Mom, he'd told me. I'd believed him. I told Talitha she was repeating family mistakes. I said unforgivable things. She left in tears. Calls went unanswered. I sent one apology after months, then nothing. I told myself she'd turned her back. I opened the oldest email, hands shaking. Dear Mother, I thought for a long time before writing. Pride said stay quiet. My heart said don't. I miss you. Despite everything, you're my mom. I know you worry about Rufus. Jonathan has told you some unkind things. Mom, he hasn't really tried to know him. Rufus teaches music at the Riverside School of the Arts. He has health insurance. His band is doing well. They released 2 records. We both work. We split bills. Last year, he earned more than me. He had a song in a commercial. I'm not asking you to love him today. Just dinner. Just try. Please. Love, Talitha. Tears. I opened another. And another. She'd called. Lucy had told her I was busy or on vacation. She kept writing anyway. A letter from 4 years ago. We're expecting. It's a boy. We're naming him Winthrop. I didn't even know I had a grandson. A letter from 3 months ago. He turned 3 today. He has your eyes. I show him your pictures. He knows there's a Grandma Burvey in Pomona. He asks when we'll visit. I don't know what to say. I work in social services now, elder care. Every day I see how important family is. I ask Jonathan about you. He says you don't want to talk to me. If that's true, okay. But if not, my door is open. Always. She included her number and a new address. Lucy had not just been stealing things. She'd been stealing my daughter from me. I went back to my accounts. More bleed-outs. $800 a month to LDC Consulting. Lucy Drake Consulting? Uncreative Thieves. Checks cashed by Jonathan for medications and special food and care, none of which I'd seen. Over 3 years, more than $120,000 gone quietly, steadily. And then I found the final piece, their endgame. An email from Drake to Jonathan, sitting in my drafts like a ticking bomb. Once guardianship is finalized and your mother is at Pine Hills, we can sell the house. Estimated sale price $800,000. After paying off the remaining mortgage, $250,000, and allocating $150,000 for 5 years at Pine Hills, net to $400,000. Per our agreement, my fee is 20%, $80,000. $320,000 remains yours. All documents will reflect the utmost concern for your mother's welfare. They weren't nibbling. They were preparing to swallow me whole. I closed my eyes. The hurt was a physical thing, like something pressing on my sternum until I couldn't breathe. But under it, a spark. Winthrop used to say, knowledge is power, Burvey. Information and a plan. I finally had both. I called Talitha. She answered on the 3rd ring. Tired. Guarded. Hello. Talitha. My voice broke. It's Mom. Silence. A shaky inhale. Mom? Is it really? Yes, I said, crying now. And I need your help. Her voice changed. Not to a child, not even to a daughter, to the woman she had become. Strong. Sure. Compassion wrapped in steel. I told her everything. The basement. The missing things. The cameras. The party upstairs. The kitchen whispers. Pine Hills. The forged signatures. The siphoned accounts. The plan to sell the house. My grandson I hadn't met. Mom, she said at last, her professional tone slipping in. This is a classic elder financial abuse case. And illegal confinement. And psychological abuse. It's a crime. You believe me? I whispered, afraid to hope. Of course, she said, instantly. I see this too often. And honestly, I always suspected something was off. Deep down, I knew you didn't just walk away from me. I sobbed. This time, from relief. Okay, she said, brisk again. Here's what we do. Keep the cameras rolling. Save everything. Forward me the emails. Screenshot the bank transfers. I'll walk you through it. I fumbled. She guided. Patient. Step by step. We got it done. Evidence moved to her safe hands. Now I'm calling Pomona PD, she said. I'll explain. I'll also call Adam Lawrence. He's an attorney we work with, Elder Protection. He'll file an emergency restraining order on your finances. The police will come to your house. Are you safe right now? The door's locked, I said. From the outside. Good, she said. Don't go anywhere. I'll be there in an hour. The police will be there in 20 minutes. Keep watching. Keep recording. Call me if anything changes. We hung up. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't alone in that house. Back upstairs, the party was winding down. I watched Jonathan with Drake. I checked Pine Hill's reviews, Jonathan said, fretting. They're not great. You're overthinking, Drake soothed. It's the right balance of cost and care. Better places are double. And we've already invested a lot of your mother's money. Be practical. After the house sells, you can upgrade her. The words made me want to throw the phone at the wall. Lucy clinked glasses with her blonde friend, glowing. Once the house is ours by summer, I'm ripping out the wall between the kitchen and dining room. Open concept. Light. And the mother-in-law's room? The friend asked. My spa, Lucy grinned. Finally. The friend hesitated. Are you sure about locking her in the basement? Lucy shrugged. She was safe. Space heater and all. And honestly, it's the only way to get a decent evening without her stories. Remember last time? She went on about how she met her dead husband for, 2 hours. I wanted to die. I wanted to reach through the screen and shake her. That story was the best day of my life. My phone buzzed. A text from Talitha, police on the way. I'm 10 minutes out. I'm bringing Adam. Keep recording. I steadied myself. Breathed. This would end soon. One way or another. The basement door cracked open quietly. I turned. Jocelyn stood there in pajama pants and a hoodie, hair in a messy bun, eyes wide. Grandma, she whispered. Are you really down here? I heard Mom tell Drake she locked you in, but I hoped she was joking. She wasn't, I said, voice flat. Jocelyn's face crumpled. That's horrible. I can't believe she stopped. No, I can. I heard them talking about sending you to a home. My chest tightened. Did you, baby? And money, she said. I asked where the money for all Mom's new stuff was coming from, and she kept saying smart investments. I didn't believe her. Footsteps. Lucy's voice, sharp. Josine. Where are you? Jocelyn flinched. I should go. If she sees me, it's okay, I said. Police are coming. Talitha's coming. Talitha. Her eyes got big. But Mom said you don't talk. Ever. That's a longer story, I said. We'll have time later. Go. Be safe. Jocelyn hesitated. Fear and stubbornness fought it out on her face. She nodded. I'll come back, she whispered. I promise. She closed the door without locking it and scurried up. In the kitchen, Lucy intercepted her. Where were you? Getting water, Jocelyn said, and for the first time I heard my granddaughter lie, smooth as glass. What took you so long? I was looking for my blue bottle. A pause. Then, go to bed, Lucy snapped. Now, what about Grandma? Jocelyn asked, casual. What about her? When will she be back from her friends? Tomorrow, Lucy clipped. Bed. Now. The living room thinned. Mabel said her goodbyes at the door, brow furrowed. Tell your mother I stopped by, she told Jonathan. I'm worried about her. Nothing's wrong, he said too quickly. She's just aging. Quieter. She didn't look convinced. Jonathan slumped onto the couch. He looked tired. Guilty. He pulled out his phone. Smiled at something. Probably a boat he'd been dreaming about. The shame flicker died. The basement door opened again. Jocelyn. Face set. They're drinking, she hissed. Now. Before they can spin it. Talitha wanted me to stay until the police arrived. But Jocelyn was right. Lucy was a magician with perception. She could turn black to white if she got the first word in. Okay, I said. Let's end this. Jocelyn tucked under my arm. We climbed. Voices in the living room stopped when we walked in. The air went still. Lucy froze, white-knuckled on her wine glass. Jonathan jerked upright. Drake blinked once, then smoothed his face. Mom, Jonathan said, voice trembling. What are you? I thought you were in the basement. I said. I was. Silence. Locked in, I added. By your wife. For 3 hours. On my birthday. Lucy laughed. Short. Sharp. Don't be dramatic, Beville. You must have shut the door yourself and forgotten. Mom told me to go to bed, Jocelyn said, stepping forward. I stayed with Grandma. Lucy's head snapped around. Room. Now. No, Jocelyn said. Arms folded. I'm staying with Grandma. Jocelyn, Lucy hissed. You don't understand, no more lies, I cut in. My hand was steady when I pulled out my phone. Game over, Lucy. What do you mean? She asked, but that cool, faux sweet voice cracked a little. I know about Pine Hills, I said. About forging my signature. About Drake siphoning my accounts. About LDC consulting. About the boat. About intercepting Talitha's letters. All of it. Lucy's face went paper white. Then red. This is nonsense. Jonathan, look at her. She's confused. She needs professional help. I swiped my screen and held the kitchen video up. Lucy and Drake. Their voices. Their words. It played. We all listened. Were you spying on us? Lucy shrieked. Cameras? In our house. My house, I said evenly. Paid for with my money. I installed cameras when my things started vanishing. My pearl earrings. My mother's brooch. My diary. Drake stepped into his snakeskin calm. Mrs. Holloway, any discussion about care was out of concern for your well-being. As for finances, everything was legal. With your consent. My consent. I almost laughed. You mean these? I showed the forged signature. That's not my hand, Drake. Anyone who's seen my writing would know. A flicker in his eyes. A crack in the mask. These were signed by Jonathan on your behalf, he bluffed. Standard practice. No, my voice was ice. It's theft. And Jonathan knows it. I turned to my son. He couldn't meet my eyes. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? That you could tuck me away in Pine Hills, sell the house, pocket $320,000, and show up at Thanksgiving like nothing happened? I swallowed. Did you think the boat would make it taste better? Jocelyn's head snapped toward him. Dad? Jonathan's shoulders sagged. Lucy said. Mom, his eyes brimmed. I thought, don't, I said. Not now. Lucy rallied. You can't prove anything. Videos can be faked. Who'd believe a senile old woman over 3 respectable adults? I will, a voice said from the doorway. Talitha stood there. Hair pulled back. Eyes bright with anger and love. A uniformed officer stepped in behind her. Beside him, a man in a dark suit with a worn leather briefcase. Talitha. Jonathan whispered. Saving our mother from you, she said, cold as the ocean. Then she came to me and her face softened. Mom? You okay? I am now, I said, and my knees almost went weak with relief. Lucy switched gears, smile pasted on. Talitha. What a surprise. We were just Officer Ramirez, Talitha said, ignoring Lucy. This is my mother, Mrs. Beville Holloway. She's been unlawfully confined. There's also ongoing financial abuse. We have evidence. Officer Ramirez nodded. He looked at me. Do you want to press charges, ma'am? Yes, I said. My voice did not shake. I do. The man in the suit stepped forward. Adam Lawrence, Mrs. Holloway's attorney. He placed papers on the coffee table. We've filed an emergency restraining order. Only Mrs. Holloway now has access to her accounts. And a preservation order, no documents, electronic or paper, are to be destroyed. Drake's nostrils flared. You can't, you used forged signatures, Adam said lightly. That's fraud. We'll be notifying the SEC about your fund. Drake blanched. Officer Ramirez read him his rights. Lucy huffed an indignant sound. Jonathan said nothing. Jocelyn clung to me. What happens now? She asked quietly, eyes on her father. It depends, Talitha said gently. On the investigation. On the court. But you won't be alone. Lucy rounded on Jonathan. This is your fault, she hissed. If you'd kept your mother in line, mine. Jonathan snapped, and for the first time I heard anger aimed at his wife. You forged signatures. You pushed. You lied. They spiraled. Blame ricocheting, years of rot spilling out. I tuned it out. Let's go, Talitha whispered, slipping an arm around me. You don't have to hear this. Come home. Home? I asked, small. The house felt like a stranger's coat I'd been forced to wear. To me, she said. To Rufus. To little Winthrop. He's been dying to meet you. My grandson, I said. The word felt like sunlight. He knows me. He knows of you, she smiled. He calls you Grandma Burvey. He's been waiting. I cried then. But not from hurt. From something like the antidote to it. Jocelyn stepped closer. Can I come visit? She asked, eyes searching my face. Please. Of course, Talitha said, pulling her into a hug. Always. And I think, maybe you should stay for a while. If that's okay. Jocelyn nodded. Small. Brave. Tired. We walked out. Officer Ramirez said they'd contact us the next day for statements. Adam promised he'd be in touch first thing. I glanced back once. Jonathan watched me go, shame. Clawing at his features, Lucy looked like a person whose ladder just snapped. Drake was cuffed, silent, sallow. The night air tasted like mercy. 2 months later, I sat on Talitha's back porch, a mug of actual lavender tea in my hands, watching a little boy with my husband's smile chase a butterfly across the grass. Careful with the tomatoes. Rufus called. He was beside me, kind eyes, quiet humor, hands stained with guitar strings and garden soil. Not the man Jonathan had warned me about. A teacher. A musician. Steady. Thoughtful. Real. Talitha came out with a tray. How are you feeling, Mom? She asked. Better, I said. And meant it. Those first weeks were hard. Nightmares. Panic when a door shut too loud. An urge to apologize for taking up space. But Talitha and Rufus wrapped me in kindness until the panic forgot my name. Little Winthrop crawled onto my lap and asked in a small, serious voice, Do you like dinosaurs? I said I love them. We've been friends ever since. The legal wheels kept turning. Drake was arrested. Investigators found I wasn't his only victim. Lucy was charged with accessory to fraud and elder abuse. Jonathan cooperated, got lesser charges. He filed for divorce. Adam clawed back a good chunk of my money. He froze what he could. The house case looked promising, our payments, the paper trail, the forged forms, Jonathan's admissions. Slowly, the balance of power tilted back where it belonged. We opened new accounts in my name only. We did a real power of attorney, with my real signature, for emergencies. We made a new will. We packed up fear and mailed it to nowhere. Jocelyn moved in with us for now. She switched schools. I tuck her in when she can't sleep and tell her over and over, none of this is your fault. Jonathan writes me letters. Weekly. Long, sorrowful. He says Lucy manipulated him. He says he was scared of losing the house, of not being able to send Jocelyn to college. He admits he liked the money. He doesn't ask me to forgive him. He knows better than to demand. He just hopes. Some days I read them. Some days I don't. I don't know if I'll ever forgive him completely. I don't know if we'll ever be what we were before greed and fear rearranged his insides. But I know this. I'm done shrinking to make others comfortable. I'm done letting other people narrate my story. At 67, I started over. Not in the way I imagined. In the way I needed. I got my daughter back. I met my grandson. I have a granddaughter who looks me straight in the eye and knows I'll stand between her and any storm. I sit on a porch with a good man who brings me tea and says, "You want to hear the new song?" And I smile because I very much do. I thought my wealth was in a house on Cherry Street, in a balance number on a screen. I was wrong. The real wealth is this: a small boy's laugh ricocheting off the garden fence. A daughter's hand on yours at the DMV, no one making snide comments about your sweater. A granddaughter leaning her head on your shoulder of her own free will. The quiet knowledge that for all the things people can steal, money, jewelry, time, love, once found and protected, is theft-proof. If you ever find yourself in a locked room, with people insisting you're crazy and powerless, check your pocket. Even a small phone can be a key. Even a single truth can be a crowbar. And if you need to hear this from me, you are not a burden. You are not disposable. You are not alone.